Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're talking about automatic chess, but we're not starting with computers. Nope, we're going way back to a time of gears and wood and one of the most incredible illusions in history.
So, let me ask you something. Picture this. It's the 1700s. No electricity, no silicon chips. Could a machine, a literal box of gears and wood, actually outthink the smartest people in Europe? It sounds impossible, right?
Well, this was the machine that was supposed to do just that. Meet the mechanical Turk. First shown off in 1770, this life-sized figure dressed in these amazing Ottoman robes made a wild promise. It could play chess and win.
Okay, so first things first, we have to get our heads around just how convincing this thing was. We're not talking about some cheap parlor trick here. This was a spectacle, a marvel, that absolutely floored the most powerful people of the time.
I mean, look at this list of opponents. It's like a history book's greatest hits. You've got Napoleon Bonaparte, who apparently tried to cheat and the Turk just wasn't having it. You've got Benjamin Franklin, a certified genius. And it even played the undisputed best chess player in the world at the time, François-André Danican-Philidor. He said it was the toughest game he'd ever played. That's a heck of an endorsement.
And get this, it wasn't just playing, it was dominating. People who watched it said it had this super aggressive style. It didn't sit back and wait, it went straight for the win, and usually the whole thing was over in about 30 minutes, a total powerhouse.
But what really sealed the deal, what made people believe, was its personality. Yeah, you heard me right. It could solve this incredibly complex chess puzzle called the Knight's Tour that most humans couldn't even touch. It would nod its head when it was about to take your queen, and if you tried an illegal move, it would literally shake its head no and put the piece back. They even added a voice box so it could say check or échec in French. Incredible, right?
So you can imagine what people thought. I mean, it was completely mystifying. There's this great quote from back in 1784 about an old lady who was so freaked out she believed the machine was possessed by, quote, an evil spirit. She literally hid from it. For a lot of people, that was the only explanation that made any sense. And this whole thing wasn't just a flash in the pan. The mechanical Turk was on the road for almost 100 years. An 84-year deception. So the big question is, how did they keep the secret for so long?
I mean, its journey is just wild. It starts out in the Austrian court, becomes this huge sensation all over Europe. Then it gets bought by this master showman, Johann Melzel, who really takes it to the next level. That's when it played Napoleon. He even took it on this massive tour of the United States. For 84 years, this thing was one of the biggest attractions on the planet.
So let's get to the good stuff. How did they pull it off? Well, it all came down to some incredibly clever and, deceptive engineering. It's time to peek inside the cabinet.
Okay, so every single show started with this whole elaborate routine. The presenter would open up the cabinet doors one by one in a very specific order. First, you'd see the left side, just crammed with all these clockwork gears. Then, they'd open the doors at the back so you could look straight through it all. Finally, the right side and a drawer. To everyone watching, it looked totally empty. No hidden compartments, nothing. But of course, it was all misdirection, a brilliant illusion, because the Turk wasn't an automaton at all. It was basically the world's most sophisticated puppet, and the secret was a real, live human chess master hidden inside. And here's how they did it. Inside that cabinet was an operator, a person, sitting on a sliding seat. So when the presenter opened one set of doors, the operator would just slide over to the other side, concealed by all this dummy machinery that would move into place. They had a single candle for light, and the smoke from it was vented out through the Turk's turban. Can you imagine? It must have been so cramped and hot in there. Just an absolutely genius setup. Okay. But how could the operator, who's stuck inside the box and can't see the main chessboard, actually control the Turk's arm? The secret weapon was a clever little device called a pantograph. You can think of it like a mechanical photocopier for movement.
The whole trick really boiled down to 3 steps. Step 1. See the move. Each chess piece on top had a little magnet in its base. When a piece moved, it would pull on a string underneath, letting the operator know exactly what just happened. Step 2. Decide the counter move. The operator, who was always a chess master, had their own little board inside. And step 3. Make the move. They'd use that pantograph to guide the Turk's arm, copying their own move onto the board for everyone to see. Simple, but brilliant.
But the story isn't over just because we know the secret. The final chapter of the Turk, and believe it or not, its legacy, that's just as fascinating as the trick itself. So after all those years on the road, the Turk finally retired. It ended up in a museum in Philadelphia. And then, in 1854, its long journey came to a very sudden, very fiery end.
There's this incredible, kind of spooky story from the son of the machine's last owner. He showed up as the museum was burning down, and he swore that through the flames he could hear the Turk's voice box whispering, "Eşek, eşek, check, check." A ghost in the machine right to the very end.
So yeah, okay, it was a hoax. A fantastic hoax, but a hoax. But that doesn't mean it didn't matter. Not at all. Because the idea it put into people's heads, the idea that a machine could think like a human, that was completely revolutionary.
And its impact was real. For instance, an inventor named Edmund Cartwright saw the Turk play and thought, hey, if a machine can play chess, then a machine can definitely weave cloth. A year later, he patented the power loom, a huge invention for the Industrial Revolution. And beyond that, it sparked dozens of copycat machines and became this cultural phenomenon. Even Edgar Allan Poe wrote a famous essay trying to figure it out.
And this is really where you see the difference, right? The mechanical Turk was the ultimate illusion of intelligence. It was all smoke and mirrors, a testament to human cleverness. Modern AI is, well, it's the real deal. It's actual computation, it's algorithms and processing power. The Turk pretended to think. AI actually computes.
But here's the beautiful, kind of paradoxical thing about it all. By creating such a perfect fake, the Turk made people ask, what if this were real? It was an illusion that inspired reality. It asked the big question, and then scientists and engineers spent the next 2 centuries trying to actually build the answer.
When you get right down to it, the story of the mechanical Turk is this amazing reminder that sometimes a really powerful illusion is the first step toward a real breakthrough. And that leaves us with a pretty cool question to think about. What illusions today are shaping the technology of tomorrow? What are the mechanical Turks of our time?